And thank you so much for joining us. My name's Taylor. I'm with the Revelstoke Visual Arts Centre, and I'm on your screens today because I'm very excited to be joined by the lovely Radhika Bhoite. Thank you. Radhika is a painter that is born and raised in India, but is currently working in the USA. She has completed the Aire Vitae Painting Marathon in the New York Studio School and actively contributed to the VAE Plein Aire Painters Group. She has exhibited in Charlotte, Key West, Laguna Beach, Cary, Raleigh, and now Revelstoke. In fact, as you can see, Radhika has been exhibiting with us since October, and her solo exhibition ends here, Retro Rewinds, this Sunday, November 20th. So definitely make sure you come and check it out if you haven't already. We're on the final days, or even if you have seen it, maybe come on back now that you're going to have that extra behind the scenes view. And if you get any questions for Radhika, just let us know and we can send them her way. But that is enough from me. We're super excited to have you here, Radhika, and thank you so much for joining us. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So yeah, let's just get the ball rolling right away.
Sure.
What do you hope that your audience takes away when they come and see your brand new exhibition?
So for me, when I was making this work, it was during the pandemic, and it was all about, finding joy and, getting some kind of positivity out of the whole experience. So I hope that's something that everyone takes away, that they feel some kind of warmth, joy out of the exhibition. But having said that, like two people seeing the same piece of work can have very different perspectives. So I think the viewers should decide, what they want to feel or how they want to feel about it, really.
Totally, yeah. I always think it's so funny. Some artists are like, this is my exact message and this is what everyone should take away. And some are kind of in between. And then some are totally the other ends. Like, it has no meaning. You take what you will from it. It's always really cool to see where people are kind of on that spectrum.
Yeah.
I already kind of mentioned at the start, but where are you from? And tell us how that kind of influences your work.
Yeah, so I think where you live definitely makes a lot of difference to your art. And I was born in India and I was raised there, and I moved to the United States, and I've been living here for like 8 or 9 years now. And I think the landscape in both the places has definitely played a big part. The colors, the different kind of terrains, the contrast between the two, and just being a different country. Also, like, I've lived in smaller towns after moving to the United States, whereas in India I used to live in Mumbai. It's like a big city. It's like,
Yeah, huge.
yeah, it's pretty much like New York. So yeah, I think both of those things have definitely like played a part. And if you talk about the show, it is certainly it's retro rewind. It's all about my childhood memories that I was, trying to find during the pandemic to just, keep me I don't know, keep me company, all the nice memories. So yeah, I do have some images I can share.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
No, I didn't even double check to make sure you can share your screen. Definitely should have done that.
Yeah,
Let me do that
sure.
now.
You can do that. Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
All right. I hit share. Can you see that?
Yes, we can. Perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, so I was just like thinking of sharing a few things like growing up in India, and some of the series that are, influenced very specifically from them. And
Mhm.
one of those is the Godari, which are quilts from the state of Maharashtra where I grew up in. And I've always seen my grandmother make those, and all the women in the village coming together to, make huge quilts. And these are just some examples from a book called Godaris of Maharashtra by Geeta Khandelwal. And yeah, so these are the kind of quilts that they made. I wish I had one to show you right now, but I don't.
That's okay.
Yeah, I
They're
should like
huge. I didn't
definitely
realize they were
snag
like,
one when I go there next time.
yeah.
Steal one from my mom or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't
So
realize they were so big and collaborative. That's really cool.
yeah, they're like big, and they also make goodies to gift when a child is born or something like that. So, and they're like passed through generations. So yeah, these were things like growing up that have definitely you can see it, they're making way into my art now. The pattern and all of those things. And yeah, these are all hand stitched. So those are what the Godri is about. And then there's Terrace Tetris, which, like I mentioned in my artist statement, is about, the rooftop terraces that we grew up on. And these these are my photos, but these are not the terraces I grew up on. I just took some pictures while taking trips around India. So these like they're like shapes and the steps, you can see like the work behind you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like a combination of things like the 90s nostalgia, kind of when I grew up, and the all the video games and graphics were kind of really big at that time. And so like these things kind of are like the game of Tetris to me. I think we all know what the game of Tetris is like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, those were kind of some of the influences, and they definitely, keep coming into my work. Architecture is like big, big influence for me. And then there are these things, the mind shape paintings. So the lattices found in forts, these were kind of some of the initial influences, like trying to get that stained glass effect in the paintings, and then like having those grid like shapes fit into each other. So there are like many more images I could show. But yeah, definitely growing up, and this show has been about that, like bringing back all the memories, rewinding. So yeah, it does has affected my work a lot.
Yeah, amazing. Should we roll on to the next one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I think something that's really interesting in lots of exhibitions, but something that's really hard to understand is kind of what goes on behind the scenes when you make a work or even an entire exhibition. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit more about your process.
Yeah, sure. So I'm always working on a few things at a time. It's not like one painting for me. So that's how the process is. And I've always like before I used to paint observationally or representationally. I do have some images from before. Yeah, so these are some still life, and you could see all the geometric patterns coming through. So these were so that is, I think that is one thing I still do, even if it is so much abstracted now. I'm still looking at photos and images like the ones I showed you. So it is still a little bit observational, and then there are different ideas or thoughts. There are like drawings like these happening on the side. I always take notes for color mixing, like you can see, like something I have written down. Yeah, I love color, so color mixing is a big part of my process too. And how I relate to the memories and what I'm thinking about different objects, I think, yeah, that is also a big part. And there are always like different studies and things like that. And of course, Mind Shapes was one of the first paintings I started in this whole series. And these were kind of more meditative for me, just trying to, recollect the memories. So I didn't do there are no drawings when I'm making these, because that's the whole point, just to like, unfiltered kind of shapes that just keep coming to me. So yeah, that's some of the process.
I really liked that you mentioned kind of the colors being a really big part, because I think a lot of people, if they're not kind of familiar with the process, they might look at it and be like, oh yeah, it's yellow and then there's pink and there's orange, but
Yeah,
they don't realize kind of how much goes into getting the exact right color and the emotions
yeah,
behind that. And it's a
yeah, definitely.
process, and then even making sure that those colors can be produced later on. It's yeah, it's
Yeah,
really cool to see.
yeah, of course. Like, yeah, I have a lot of notes of color mixing all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very exciting. Color is very exciting for me. Yeah.
Let's keep on rolling. This one might be a little bit tricky, and I know it's kind of hard to answer, but why do you make art?
Oh, why do I make art? Okay. Um, I think that's how I have expressed myself
Mhm.
since a very young age. And not just like painting or drawing, like any kind of art. I remember when I was a kid, I was like hugely into origami a lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like, something that comes naturally, and it just is that urgency that I just have to do it, like just
Mhm.
make something with my hands. And I don't know, that's probably why I just make art.
Yeah, because you have to. I
Yeah,
love that. That's a
I
great
just have
reason.
to. I can't do without it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, what do you value about showcasing your work in a small town like Revelstoke?
Um, yeah, so I think like small towns really have that charm. And since I've lived in both kind of places, like a really big city and a very small town, I'm like able to compare that. And I haven't been to Revelstoke, but like from what I've seen online, I think people value art there a lot.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of visitors as well as like locals. So I think there's definitely a community where I would love to show because people appreciate it. So yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I really wish you could have made it down. We'll have to
I
package as many
know.
bonus Revelstoke things into your work when we send it on back. So
Yeah. Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, I really wish I could have made the trip too, but I was traveling to India and like so many things
yeah,
happening in between. Yeah.
life just happens. That's okay. And
Yeah.
we're kind of far away.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you've been making work for quite a while, and again, this might be a tricky question, but what is the favorite piece that you have made so far, or pieces?
Um, I I don't really know. I think I don't have a favorite piece really.
Yeah.
I do have favorite color mixes, like we were talking about. That's like it really excites me, and like I
Mhm.
write down the formulas. So I always have favorite color mixes that,
Perfect. I like
yeah,
that. I mean, that
yeah,
makes sense if color is such a big foundation for your work,
yeah,
but it's a huge
yeah,
influence. I like that.
yeah.
All right, let's keep on going.
Yeah.
What is the best part about being an artist?
The best part about being an artist, I think it would be that um the possibility that it could, make someone happy looking at your work. I
Mhm.
think is the best part because for the longest time I have been of this mindset that I don't know what I'm doing. It's not that useful to anyone.
Mhm.
But over time, when you get more feedback, you realize that it does have a possibility to make someone happy. And I think that is the best part of doing it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so funny. I think no matter like how good you are and how many shows you've had, there's always that part of you that's like, I don't know, like, is this
Yeah.
contributing anything? Like, should I be doing this? But I know, even just from what I've seen of your exhibition, there've been so many people that have come in and just enjoyed all the color and the happiness and just everything that's going on in here. So even if it's just in Revelstoke, you've definitely made some people happy, which is
That makes me feel so good.
nice.
Yeah. But I think with every artist that like there's someone who's going to like what you're making. So
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
it's huge. Yeah.
And it feels good for the artist, also very important.
I know. Yeah, for sure.
Alrighty, we're coming to the tail end now, but what are you working on next? Where can we see your stuff, or what should we know about?
So right now I'm looking forward to a lot of studio time.
Mhm,
Like now that the days are getting shorter and all the holiday stuff will be over soon, I'm
mhm,
looking forward to a lot of studio time and what I'm in the process of doing is turning my art into 3D forms. So that's what I'm planning to do, like looking into materials, exploring. Like right now, I'm just making like paper and cardboard maquettes, but I'm trying to see what other materials I can use to, make more sculptural work. And I used to like work in ceramics before. So, but that's not an option anymore. Like it requires a lot of space and all
A
of that.
lot.
Yeah. So I am definitely looking to exploring more materials to do that. So I'm pretty excited about just having more studio time now.
Yeah, I know. Just making stuff and expanding into a whole other dimension will be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
So do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Oh, okay. I get to do this now.
Yeah,
So
it's time.
okay, yeah. Um, I think for me it has been really, it has transformed my practice a lot when I found community, like really finding like-minded artists. So, no matter how much like practice you do and how much work you make, it's like the people, the community that you find. I think it's most important, like the kind of feedback you can get, the support you get. So I think the advice would be like, don't try to do it alone. It's not how it's not
Yeah.
how yes. Yeah. So and like the three communities I'm a part of, I would definitely like to give them a shout out. They've been so great. One is the Thrive Together Network. Then there's NYC Crit Club and the Art Queens. They've all the three have been so transformative to my practice, and it's really good to have those connections.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. You just can't make art in a bubble, and it's just
yeah,
nicer with other people. And yeah,
yes.
you're exactly right. I think art's a really good way to kind of find your people as well. It's nice.
Yeah, and like it's so much easier now with so many online options. Like you can be
Mhm.
in a small town and still be connected to, a lot of people.
Yeah,
So
I know when I first moved to Revelstoke, I was a little bit worried, kind of coming from the big city where I had so many resources and so many people, but
yeah,
really with the internet we can do so much. I mean, look at us go. We're
yeah, I
chatting from
know.
totally different parts of the world, and I feel like we've spent lots of time together, but I've never actually met you before. It's really
Yes,
cool. Yeah.
it's so cool. Yeah.
Alrighty, let's maybe ending on a big one here, but what are some of your influences or inspirations?
Yeah, I think like my cultural heritage has been one of the biggest one, but I think apart from that, like there are some artists that I could share. I do have some slides. So this is S.H. Raza, and like subconsciously somewhere it has just been in my mind. I haven't seen his work lately,
Mhm.
but he was like really big in Mumbai when I was growing up. And I used to see like prints and everything everywhere around people's houses and everywhere. But I never really thought about it then, but now I do think about his work a lot and look at it. And then there's Ellsworth Kelly, of course. And like initially I used to be like, oh, these are shapes, when I hadn't seen his work in person. But then when I went to SF MoMA and I just like saw these big shapes, I was so mesmerized. So he's been definitely one of the biggest influences. It's like you can just look at those shapes for hours together and like still find something. So there's also Kelly, and there's also this museum he made, and there's stained glass, which I'm very much into. So it was like really exciting that an artist you like would make this.
Mhm, mhm.
So there's that, and there's also Stuart Davis, and also like a lot of other geometric abstract painters like Frank Stella and others. So yeah, these have definitely been some of the top influences for me.
Yeah, I love that. It's always really interesting because obviously as an outside viewer, we look at your paintings and we get inspiration, but it's cool to see the inspiration behind the inspiration and
Yeah.
kind of like how far back it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is absolutely everything from me. Thank you so much for meeting with us today. It's really nice that people can still kind of get a bit of behind the scenes of your work, kind of again, despite a little bit of distance, but it's awesome. And thank you for exhibiting with us. We're very lucky in Revelstoke to get artists that are just
Well, thank you
so
so much.
lovely, and you are very much one of them. It's been a pleasure.